everybody, we are Pressed for Truth and I am Brian, and today we are going to talk about your pension and the mathematical certainty that it is gone. Most people stay at their work for 10, 20, 30, 40 years doing a job they probably don't want to, but with the guarantee that at the end of their work life, as they move into retirement, their pension will be there. We call this the golden handcuffs. The problem right now is we are not sitting on a grenade. We are actually sitting on a time bomb that most people have no clue of what's going on with. And part of the reason why is your banks, politicians, and senior management of your company or your pension fund are literally just not telling you this. Why? Well, they're getting paid very handsomely, so what does it matter to them? It's time that we pay attention. Just like on this issue, all issues require our attention in order for us to hold their feet to the fire. Today I'm mostly going to talk about liabilities. There's multiple components to this crisis. I might touch on a few other points, but the liabilities are the mathematical certainty component to it. And part of that certainty is, of course, the demographics. I covered this in the immigration video, so if you want a primer on that before the next video comes out on demographics, that's basically covered there. So on the liability component, the mathematical certainty component, the OECD countries are facing 78 trillion in pension liabilities. This is from a Citi report. They talk about things like the underfundings in a lot of places, demographic changes and whatnot. And this is part of that. So we talk about all realms of pension, Social Security or other types of covers. Medicaid's supposed to be there for you, all these other things. Well, it used to be 16 workers paying for every one beneficiary. Now it's kind of dwindling down, and a lot of people are retiring all at the same time. So what we end up seeing is we have about 37 trillion in assets. Now I'm going to get out my handy online scientific calculator, and it kind of points us in the direction that we're looking at $2 worth of liabilities for every dollar of assets. Now, I could have that math wrong. Please absolutely inform me if that's the case. But I'm basically doing 78 divided by 37. That is a big problem. And we can see that here in the amount of money that each person owes. This is just the United States right here. So you go through the states, and you see this is a huge number. California, we're looking at about almost 100 grand per person. And if we're looking at the rest of the country as well, we have California here. They're obviously taking the lead of stupidity and liability and unrealistic returns. But the rest of America is not too far behind. And here's that Medicaid, Social Security, that Medicare Social Security that we were talking about. That is in the hole, big time. Where is this money going to come from? Nowhere. It's literally not there. There's no way that they can deal with this. So the disability fund is about to run out of cash in a couple years. That's not good. Again, Social Security, Medicare. And then we start looking at individual states. So here's Illinois, 203 billion and counting. Where is this money going to come from, people? You have to ask yourself. Here's California. They owe $1 trillion. It's almost 100 grand a household. We talked about that. Public pension funds are looking at about 2 trillion. This is not good. Even just small ones for schools. There's about 500 million in Detroit. Literally, you guys can just Google this. You can figure this all out on yourself. And so what starts to happen is they may not completely destroy or get rid of your pension. They will just literally hack it down to the bone in order to pay for their gross mismanagement and the issues that they've caused. Or they will extend the retirement age, so you'll go from 63 to 65 or 65 to 67 or whatever. They're doing a lot of that in Europe. A lot of proposals here in Canada for that. Corporate pensions are the same. They got a lot of problems with on the corporate side. We've seen a lot of this stuff. These are just recent things where they say, hey, we're a mining company or whatever we are. We're bankrupt and we owe debt. So your pension pays for that debt that we owe the bankers because they get first rights to the debt. Or we have other situations like this. Now, this is interesting because we got a lot of logging and driving trucks for, let's say, these guys or, energy sector. We have a lot of problems there, and what's basically going to be happening, and I covered that in this video, is the fact that a lot of AI is going to replace all those people on the public side, not only on the government side, but on the public side. So if money isn't going in, but money is going out, as in if AI takes the job of an actual worker, and that's supposed to be to pay for a pension that someone's going to take it on the back end, we got a problem. Now let's just take a quick look here at what the size of a economy would be if it was a state in the United States. So Canada compares very well with Texas, Netherlands. We see some of the other countries, Brazil here. So if you don't know, Brazil is already looking to confiscate all the pensions of the people there. Brazil is in massive debt because of the energy sector, resource sector. Same as a lot of these other places, they're in a lot of trouble. And if we look at the GDPs of these places, so again, we'll see Texas here and Canada. So all these places, California is here. They're like the United Kingdom of bankruptcy. Same with France. France is in the same boat. So this is a big issue. Italy is literally going to drag the Eurozone under. The EU is basically finished. It's just a long, slow death that's happening there. Same with France. These guys can't pay. There literally is no way that they can pay this money without insane, massive reform, which they cannot do, even if they tried to do. The goal, or what they will just end up doing, is confiscating the pensions. Now, most people in North America say, well, we're okay over here. We have these laws, especially in Canada. For some reason, in Canada, literally, people believe this country's bulletproof. Our government would never, do anything like confiscate a pension. The problem is, and this is CalPERS here, the problem is all the pension funds own all the debt in all these bankrupt countries. And the bond market will wake up. In fact, the bond market is already waking up to this issue. France, Ireland, Japan, oh my God, look at this. Like, again, this is all pension funds. What is Japan going to do? They have demographic issues. They're in a lot of trouble. We have third world nations, or, countries like Malaysia and whatnot, Mexico. This is the debt in Netherlands. And of course, Poland is already confiscating their pensions. Quebec. This is crazy. Like, literally, we own all this stuff. This is where the problems will start, when pension funds either dump these debts of other companies or countries and buy their own, or just dump all types of debt like this altogether. So what also happens sometimes is, like in California, there was a huge return after the dot-com bubble. So of course they all gave themselves raises, but just actual mismanagement, buying high and selling low. And why I see this as an issue that pension funds do this is the debt issue of all the provinces, of all the states. You've seen this clock on my videos before. Here you have the EU. This was a long time ago, 2003 to 2004. Look at the problems they had back then. Nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing has changed for these countries. As you go along, you see this. Look at the debt these guys are issuing. So again, all your pensions own all the debt of all these literally bankrupt countries that cannot actually pay their debt. A lot of the reason why is because they have these pension liabilities, and the bond market is waking up to it. Look at this, folks. We've talked about this, 325% of GDP. These numbers are impossible. Your pensions are going to be taken from you, as they always are. Now, again, we always hear, it's Canada, we're safe, or my country, or my province, my state wouldn't do this. This is what governments do when they're desperate. The largest pension, one of the largest ones, is going to be insolvent by 2025. Spain plunders their Social Security fund to buy its own debt. Okay, Spain's kind of a big country. This is what they do. Russia nationalized the pension. Argentina's grabbing for the pensions. When they get desperate, like these countries do, they go to the biggest pile of cash, and that is the pension funds. We had a bank bailout. The numbers are a little different here and there. For Canada, some people say it's much higher than $100 billion. They will literally walk in and take your money. That is what they do. Justin Trudeau has passed a law that if the banks screw up, which they continually do, we look at student loan debt, we look at subprime debt, we just look at actual debt for households, we look at provincial debt and the country of Canada debt. This allows them to walk into your bank account and take your money. Now, I'm going to explain that in a separate video, and I'll show you the mechanisms behind that. But Canada's top 10 Canadian public pension fund assets are $1 trillion. Most of those are in government debt. So folks, we really need to wake up and do what I was showing before, is pay attention to what's happening here. This is a mathematical certainty. I know a lot of people in Canada, I'll say it again, really truly believe that our banks are looking out for us. It couldn't happen to their pension. When your pension owns all this debt that is garbage, this is where the problem starts. And if they try and start taking money out of stocks and putting it into bonds to shore up the debt, this is where the trouble starts. I'm going to keep going on this issue, And part of the reason why is it's complex, but it involves so many people's future and so much people's money. We're Pressed for Truth. Come and join us. Like and share on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Let us know. And of course, if you're able to give us a donation, we love it. It helps us get this information out to you. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.